Good afternoon. This is John Parent. Welcome to the Dealer Built Oplogic transforming dealership operations with the Oplogic all-in-one software solution platform. I'd like to introduce my co-founder of Oplogic, Jason Keith, as well as today's, I guess I'll call you the panelist, Mr. Adam DeJans of Wally Edgar Chevrolet. Um, Wally Edgar Chevrolet's been a partner with Oplogic since 2018, a very heavy user on a lot of the different functionality from our CRM historically all the way to some of our latest and greatest artificial intelligence tools. With that said, I'll pass it over to Jason, and we can get this rocking
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
rolling.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam, so much for your time. Obviously, what we wanted to touch on was some of the key capabilities that you're using in Oplogic. And obviously, you've been in Oplogic for some years now. We've collaborated very heavily on what works well at your store. And so just wanted to touch on that for this webinar. And again, really appreciate it. So obviously, Oplogic's got some key capabilities in your showroom capture. How is that? How do you utilize that on your showroom floor?
So as far as like driver's license scanning,
Well, yeah, that's one bit of like, how do you know who's in your showroom right now and what deals are in action and what you need to do and how busy your showroom floor is right now? How do you use Oplogic to be able to answer that very valuable question?
the main function that we use is the appointment board. So the managers will have that up as BDC schedules appointments for customers to come in. We do a reverse TO. So when a customer comes in, they're introduced to a manager. So this way they know what the schedule looks like for their day to introduce themselves to, possible prospects. And, so that's the one functionality in the dashboard that we've used the most on. Yeah, so.
So in your sales process, when that customer arrives on your showroom, clearly your salesperson needs to be prepared with numbers. I mean, obviously there's the product itself. You've got demo drives. You've got a way to track that in Oplogic, but the numbers themselves in the financial presentation. There's a native desking tool in Oplogic. Does all of your salespeople utilize that?
Most of them.
Yeah, and obviously on both finance and lease, correct?
Leasing exclusively through salespeople, all the finance, because there's that caveat when you're quoting purchase payment with a rate. So we like to control that at the desk. But for leasing, yeah, 80% of the salespeople run all their own numbers and do it right through the Oplogic tool.
Now, in that Oplogic tool, is that directly integrated with General Motors, GM Financial, and other alternate leasing lenders that may have advantages?
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the best part about it is its integration with all the banks, especially GM Financial. On top of that, and I don't know if you want me to talk about it, but the integration with General Motors themselves, the ability to pull, invoices right there while you're in the desking tool, the ability to pull a VIN incentive lookup while you're in the desking tool. So it has even the customer incentive acknowledgement forms are built right in there. So it offers a lot of access to the things that we would typically use GM software for. We can do it right in our CRM and house everything, so then we can track it.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the desking tool is simple enough so that you can have salespeople interact and would be mistakes are discouraged. Maybe get into some of the things that we've done to make sure that your salesperson, even new to the team, salespeople that may not be fully experts at leasing, does the tool help them deliver accurate quotes, accurate payments to the customers?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an easy tool to learn. I mean, you're not just going to sit down and run a lease payment and go through all the things that go along with it, on your first go round. I mean, there is a little bit of training that's involved in it, but we do that if we're hiring a salesperson that already has experience. Maybe they haven't desk. I mean, they're able to catch on real quick. We typically kind of hold their hand for the first, like week, maybe two. And then after that, they just can go on their own.
Sure. Sure. Now,
It's easy to learn. Definitely
eh,
easy to learn. It's the
okay.
layout's simple.
Okay, thank you. Now, another component of that, the desking tool is that you have a consumer facing, a sign2drive.com consumer facing. You can send a link to the customer so that they can review the deal. They can upload any different documentation as well as fill out their credit application, fully integrated into Dealer Track or Route One. Is your team utilizing that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What kind of consumer what kind of engagement are you seeing from consumers? Is that a tool that seems to get positive response?
I can't say that we hear too much of a response from the customer, but the layout is there, especially when you're desking a deal, if you're going to do this over the phone or send them the link via text, um, the way that it's laid out in front of a customer is super easy. And then on top of it, having that activation so you can expire the deal. Typically what we'll do is if we're going to send a quote over the phone, and my BDC manager does this a lot for people that call in that have to have a lease payment, we'll send that out. We'll activate the expiration for 24 hours. And then this way they don't have all the answers to the text, right? They can't walk around with a sheet and shop at other places or compare other products.
Yeah, thank you. Now, obviously, getting the customers to your showroom, you've got a full business development center that's utilizing the tool as well. What are the features that they're using to optimize?
So repeat that question one more time. I apologize.
No, that's no problem. I'll add them. Yeah. So of all the leads that are coming in and the conversations back and forth, your team is using texting tools, email tools, and of course those are incoming phone calls, and we're managing the telephony recordings as well as call summary of those calls. So your BDC has those tools. So what are they doing? What is your team doing to be able to optimize the appointment set and then those customers actually showing up on your showroom floor?
So, I mean, when we set an appointment, again, that goes back to the appointment board. So they know to call and then confirm.
So they're confirming appointments via text and via email.
Well, not via text, but yeah, via a phone call.
Gotcha. Okay.
You mentioned the telephony service in there, and the click to call function.
Hmm.
That has been an absolute game changer because until you realize um, what your people are saying to your customers, you don't really get it. So, as an example, we hired a new BDC member, right? And from our side, without listening to the phone call, she sounded absolutely excellent. But when you hear the conversation between her and a guest, the dynamics kind of change. It wasn't so great. There was a lot of like white noise or silence that would happen for moments, right? So it gives us the ability daily, okay, to go in and train people, on what it is that they're doing. And some of the things that you'll notice as you listen to phone calls through the system is that we haven't, as managers, we haven't trained our people properly because some things they just don't know. I didn't know to tell them to do a certain thing, and you don't get to really understand what they know until you're listening to them interact with a customer. So that has been absolutely huge, and the fact that it's housed inside of the lead in our CRM has made all the difference in the world, right? Because everybody has telephony services, okay? Phone calls have been recorded through dealerships for years and years. But actually having a record of that phone call in the record of the lead is priceless. So because now I'm looking at just one customer, and not only can I listen to the phone call, but I can see all the other things that has happened with that call in the history. So how did we lead up to that call, and then what happened after that call took place?
Hmm. And one
Yeah,
of the newer,
Jay,
go ahead, John.
Jay and Adam, I just want to interject here a little bit. And if anybody out in the audience has any questions, please send those questions in via chat. And along the way, we will field those questions and do our best to answer. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Jake.
No, that's no problem, John. Yeah, along the lines of the telephony, obviously you've got phone calls coming in on your main line, and there are varying degrees of relevance with those calls. Sometimes you've got wrong numbers, sometimes you've got your lenders calling in, but obviously you've got some significant sales opportunities that would otherwise go unknown if you did not have the salesperson manually type that into the CRM. And in recent months, we've launched an AI tool called Call Summary at your store. Have you seen that improve the capture of your sales opportunities and then your service and parts clutter, if you will, go to the correct team so that you can focus on what's important on the phone?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely gotten better, gotten, so-called smarter. I think, it probably needs a little bit more tweaking. I think it's still newer. But overall it does a good job. And again, it kind of directs us on which calls we should really pay attention to.
Absolutely. Yep, that's fantastic feedback. Thank you. We are working on that. Yeah, AI is still a work in progress, not only in the automotive space, but across all industries. It's certainly a buzzword, and we'll get into some of those specifics a little later in this presentation. But there's also, when it comes to your sales staff, clearly of those that are captured on the floor, you've given them the numbers, they've engaged, they've got their credit application filled out. There are a percentage of those that sadly walk off your showroom without the keys in a newly delivered vehicle. For your salespeople and their work plan, their follow-up plans, how does Oplogic's work plan capabilities and tools help you ensure that your salespeople have all the important relevant customers that they need to follow up with?
So, well, this is where, I think Oplogic really shines, as far as a true customer retention management tool, right? Because one of the things that, all the other CRMs that I've experienced, they take their tasks or their work plans and let's say if you got a 1 day, a 2 day, a 3 day, or whatever your, certain cadence is. But if the salesperson is off or on vacation, then those tasks will begin to stack, right? Well, you're not going to make 2 phone calls to one customer, or in some cases, 3 or 4. So what I like most about the daily work plan in Oplogic is the fact that, when it moves to the next cadence, then, the other one now falls off. So if you did have a salesperson off that day, they missed the follow-up on day 1. Day 2 now kicks in and the day 1 is gone. So now you can get a better realistic understanding of how long that task has been sitting there undone, instead of having 2 or 3 stack up on each other.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, we report upon that so that reports easily expose a salesperson, dare I say it, and God forbid, a salesperson that is slow to respond to their the relevant phone calls on their work plan. If they're not getting that work plan done, the number of missed opportunities in their work plan is very evident on that reporting.
And even more important when it comes to a BDC, right? Because typically the cadence on a BDC is even more often. So, again, if they're gone or if they didn't finish all of their work plan for that day, I mean, I've got, some BDC agents that have, 100 tasks to do in a day.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't get all the way through it, well, now you didn't double dip on the tasks and, walk in and you got 200-300. Well, that's, it's discouraging to see something like that as soon as you walk in the morning and, get to start the work. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the other components, the advantages of Oplogic is that we're pulling in your service data from the DMS. So that's all open repair orders throughout the day and obviously service appointments. And so there's different aspects for the salesperson. Does your team seem to respond well when they've got a customer back in service that just opened a repair order, or the preparation of a customer coming back into the service department with the appointments? Does that help their work plans?
I'm yes is the short answer, but I don't know if we really truly utilize that to its fullest capacity.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, as long as you haven't heard a salesperson complain that a few of their customers are back in the service department and they were unprepared, I guess is
Right.
that.
Right, sure.
Yeah, the best way. But now, and also you mentioned appointments being a key aspect. Are you also setting F&I delivery appointments in addition to sales appointments so that your F&I team can be prepared for the delivery process on some of your busier Thursday afternoons at the end of the month?
Oh yeah, yeah. Everything, all appointments go in, whether it's just a sales appointment, a finance delivery appointment, whatever it is. Yeah, all the appointments go in.
Gotcha. Yeah, and obviously with vehicle prep appointments, we've got some stores that are preparing their service department for what vehicles need to be ready at certain times of the day because it's going to take delivery and those keys are going to be handed off. And so they'll run off the board with a limited number of slots throughout the day of when a salesperson can schedule that based on when the consumer says that they're ready to be in the store.
Yeah, I have had Melissa show me that, and that looks awesome. We haven't implemented it here yet, but I can definitely see how that could help out both finance and prep. So
Yeah, our appointment management is a strength of the system for sure. Um, you also have a considerable number of internet leads that are flowing into the system. You're a high traffic Chevy store north of Detroit, and so you get internet leads on a Sunday. Sometimes consumers can send in 5 internet leads over the course of one day or a couple weeks. How does Oplogic optimize auto merging, auto matching, assignment to the correct salesperson that was already engaged with that customer, so that your BDC isn't pulling their hair out with multiple salespeople working the same lead?
okay, so you're asking me how it works. I have to ask you how it works. All I know is that it works. So
That's the
how it works, I don't know, but I do know that one customer puts in multiple leads. I'm not dealing with a whole bunch of clutter that we need to now try to clean up and figure out.
So as a high volume store, Oplogic is doing a good job of managing those leads such that you have optimal conversations with those customers.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Um, Thank you. We also have a number of data integrations. So, we spoke about the GM, the invoices, and the vehicle location. And you've also got lenders outside of GM Financial that are very relevant, especially in leasing. You've got credit unions and Ally to name some specifics. Is your team using those capabilities?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, once you have a deal structure secured and you've got a customer with a payment that's favorable, do you have to hand type that into your DMS?
No, no, just simply push it right over and it'll just integrate right into, in our case, it's CDK.
So are we matching up on the right salesperson? Are we matching in on the additional products and fees? Are those going into the right place?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
And just to pull out of the hat, early lease return going in as a trade payoff, maybe that was an issue. Is that stable?
Yeah, yeah, that's stable. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've had to make some very custom choices in the DMS integration, but they're certified integrations with nearly every DMS on the market. Yep. And then inventory. How quickly are you getting inventory? Does your sales staff seem to respond well when new vehicles hit and we populate that up for the desking tool?
Again, we don't use the inventory portion of it. It's like we're searching for inventory, but when a stock number is entered, even if it just came in that day,
Mm-hmm.
it'll definitely be there inside of Oplogic. So we've never had any issues of, having a vehicle here, but not in the system.
Mm-hmm. Is your store using any inventory tools that you currently manipulate daily changes in list pricing? Especially for your used cars, are you using any of those tools that could be supplementing the inventory from your DMS so that when you're desking a deal, you have the optimal sales price? Like as in, are you using an additional inventory tool where you're manipulating prices
Yeah,
on the
we
vehicles?
are. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And is that data flowing into Oplogic so that the desking tool launches with the best list price, the most accurate list price based on what you put in inventory?
Like I said, I've never had any complaints, so I'm going to go with yes.
Behind door number one.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, credit application wise, I mean, have you had any issues pushing credit apps into Route One? Obviously, you're a GM store. You're probably going to focus on a Route One app and making sure that the consumer.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome. I mean, to be in one program to fill out everything and then have it integrate with the different systems that we're using, is definitely helpful.
Thank you. Yeah. Now, a big one, support. There's no technology that's perfect, and questions come up throughout the day. different vendors have issues, vendors go down, supporting the product. Your day relies constantly on the technology across your, entire stack of vendors. How does Oplogic support compare with what you've seen other vendors provide?
So if there's one thing to talk about with Oplogic, more so than anything else, right, is exactly that, is the support that we get. Jason, we ran into that one issue with the telephony issue that I don't think was a telephony problem, right? I think it was our phone system that was an issue. However, okay, you and your team went to work to come up with a solution to work around. And all the while, okay, you did that behind the scenes without even telling me that you were doing it, and then came up with a fix. So if there's one thing about Oplogic that stands way above everybody else, it's exactly that. It's the service. It's literally second to none. And that's not just a word trap.
Yeah, thank you.
We try real hard. That's our focus.
And we take
Yeah.
it personally.
Yeah.
Yep. We absolutely take it personally.
Mhm.
And obviously over the years, you've mentioned that you have seen other CRMs. In fact, you've even reviewed an AI-based CRM that it's got some recent buzz in the marketplace.
Mhm.
So obviously AI is important. Where do you see AI going in technology and helping you deliver more cars?
It's hard to say exactly where that's going to lead to. It definitely assists in day-to-day operation. Again, I think by having something like that, it keeps us more focused on the main thing. And, especially when you're talking about summarizing calls or giving us an idea of where we're at in the process, just by the AI going through the notes. I can definitely see where it's a huge benefit. And like I said, we'll see where it goes from there. But so far so good. I love it.
Yeah, there's obviously a number of ways that we've seen successful. There's some gimmicky things that we have seen that are more fluff than anything, and we're obviously trying to deliver products that just make sense to you in selling more cars and improve your engagement with customers. So we've got AI Insights as a newer tool that we're working on right now that'll summarize the customer as well as bring opportunities to the top by doing an analysis of recent customers that have responded. So we certainly have some AI capabilities that we're really pushing in 2025.
Great.
Yeah, as well as the call summary that we're improving that on the main line. So your main line call tracking that we've got calls going in the right place. As you made mention, it's good. It's got to get better, and we're obviously focused on that. I don't think that we've seen any AI tool completely change the auto industry so that the
Right.
dealership doesn't have to do anything to sell cars. That
Right.
has not happened.
Well, we've been working on that for years.
Yep, yep, that's absolutely right. So, John, did you have anything in conclusion? I mean, obviously, we've hit on a number of the items, and you've been so generous with your time, Adam. Not only do we appreciate your feedback, but your expertise of years of being in an Oplogic store and a power user of Oplogic, and again, your expertise is truly appreciated on this call.
Well, thank you. No problem. Glad to
Yes,
do it.
Adam, thank you very much for participating. Our goal behind starting this series of webinar podcasts is to, have real live dealers have an honest conversation of how Oplogic makes a difference in their store and their success. You know, our goal from day one back in 2001 was to build a single platform that was heavily embedded with CRM and digital AI assistants and desking, digital retail light, call management with AI, equity mining, F&I, document management so that remote deliveries became more secure and better, fully integrated with, DMS, other data sources, OEMs, as well as other technologies that you feel make a difference. All that with a bow of compliance. We led the world in fraud prevention in car dealerships. We were the first to launch that with a patented process back in 2001. And we pride ourselves on stopping fraud from happening. And arguably the most advanced fraud prevention solution on the market that we've been delivering for years, from synthetic identity prevention and just overall management of secure documents for closing deals. But we greatly appreciate your time. And if anybody has any questions, we'd love to take this time to answer. If not, thank you everybody for participating and joining us in the webinar.